So for those that don't know, you're Steve. With
Yep.
last name Rich, right?
Steve Redmond. Yep. I
All
think I
right.
got. There we go.
Guitars for the Day of the Beast. So
Yes.
have you been with the band since its inception?
I haven't actually. I joined in 2011. Um, they had actually two guitarists before I joined. So the first album that I was on was actually the Ultimate Cremation Pyre, which is the album previous to Indisputably Carnivorous.
Okay.
So, but I was with them for a few years before that album came out. So,
Okay. And so I mean, for anybody that doesn't know, you had that album come out last week, or a few days ago on the 18th.
it came out on Friday. Yep.
Yeah. So how's the reaction been from what you've heard from
Um,
fans?
it's been really good, honestly. It's I don't think I've heard anything bad about it, which is good. I mean, I feel like people have had their, everybody's got their critiques, and music is so subjective. So I expect to hear some, critiques, but for the most part, I think it's been pretty positive response.
Yeah. Yeah,
Pretty
that's
happy with it.
Yeah. Another thing with this album, you're actually now on Prosthetic Records.
Right, and that's awesome. That's helped a lot, honestly, with like the promotion and stuff. Probably stuff we wouldn't have been able to do by ourselves. So
Right. Right.
that definitely helps.
How did you end up joining with them? Did y'all send them like had they heard your previous albums or what?
Um, that I'm not 100% sure of, but so last year, I have a studio project called For Token, and it's like symphonic death metal stuff. Um, we actually reached out to them on Twitter, I think it was, because they were like, what are you listening to? They made a Twitter post, and we were like, hey, check out, my band For Token. And at this point, we had already released the album ourselves. And I think it was Steve Joe from Prosthetic that was the one who listened to it that night. But anyway, they reached out to us and they basically said, yeah, we'll sign you guys and we'll release it. Um, and then from there, I mean, I kind of built that relationship with them from there. And then when my other band, The Day of the Beast, when we were ready to, we had a demo out with some songs that were going to be on the new album, and I sent it over to Steve and I said, hey, what do you guys think about signing us? And they liked it and they said, let's do it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it happened.
That's a great thing, especially, since right now, hardly nobody's touring. Luckily stuff is starting to open up, but for a label to say, yeah, we're gonna sign you, they must see has seen something that they want to that they're gonna be end up backing and are proud to put on their label.
Yeah. And I think we got kind of lucky with the For Token stuff because they were asking, well, do you guys play live? And we were like, well, no, it's just a studio project, and but at the time they were like, well, nobody's playing live, so let's
Yeah,
do it. And I told them, yeah, eventually we'll probably try to play live, but at the time it was kind of like a, just mainly a studio project. But
yeah. So for this album, the for the Day of the Beast, how long had y'all been working on those songs?
um, probably since before the previous album even came out.
Oh,
We
really?
had some with the previous album. We had some issues with production that took an incredibly long time. Towards like after we recorded it and it didn't come out until like 2 years after we recorded it almost. So by that time we already had quite a few written for this album, or at least I did. Um, and I think it was 2017 or 2018. Zach, our previous guitarist, parted ways, and Bobby joined. And Bobby is like a songwriting maniac. Like he just, I mean, the dude can write like 10 songs in a day, I swear.
Oh, shit.
So then he started like bringing stuff to practice, and so we kind of worked it out to where I had 5 songs that I mainly wrote are on the album, and then 5 songs that he mainly wrote are on the album. So it's kind of like a split between those. But yeah, most of mine were written A couple of them were probably written before the previous album came out, and then it's kind of over time. I think "Disturbing Roars," track 2 on that album, is probably the newest one that I wrote. That's on that album, which was like I think I wrote that like last year, sometime. So, but yeah, so it's kind of like, and we had so much material. We had to actually cut songs out because we had so many songs that were like when we messaged Prosthetic, we were like, yeah, we got like 14 songs. There's like, can you like make that 10 songs? Because 14 is too many. So we'll have plenty of material for the next one. So
yeah. So do you know a period of time to work on it and adjust it as needed, or do you prefer to, maybe knock out a whole song within a shorter period of time, maybe like a week or less than a month?
I think I missed like part of the very first part of that question. It's kind of broke up a little bit.
Oh, I was asking if you like when you write songs, do you like taking your time to where you have a prolonged period of time to kind of work on it and adjust it as time goes on, or do you prefer to maybe kind of give yourself like a time limit and try to construct it within a shorter period of time?
I say it's a little bit of both. I guess it really depends on whether or not I'm actually on some kind of time constraint. Because I get in modes where, I have all these ideas and all this like I'm super motivated and I can sit down and write songs like really quickly. And then there's times when I sit down and I'm just like, I'm not feeling it right now. And like all the riffs that I write are just not sounding good to me. So it's like I kind of have to be in the right state of mind. But I do think when I do have a time constraint, it does kind of push me to, write quicker. So, I mean, it's just kind of a mixture of both, I guess.
Now, when you do write a song, do you normally have like maybe like a concept or an idea and then build maybe the riffs around that, or do you just start playing and then see what comes out?
I usually will have an idea, or I'll get some kind of inspiration from something else I was listening to that day, and I'll be like, man, it'd be cool to write a song that's like that fast, or in this type of style. So I mean, I kind of sit down with a little bit of a broad idea of what I'm trying to do in my head, but for the most part, I sit down, I put like, okay, I want to write a fast one, so I put the click track to, fast, and then I just kind of sit there and jam until things come out that sound cool, and then I just kind of piece the riffs together. So that's pretty much my method.
Yeah.
Bobby's is a little bit similar. I think he does, like, I'll sit down with an idea and I'm gonna like, okay, I'm gonna write this as one whole song, and then I'm gonna move on to the next one. But I think he kind of writes a bunch of different things all at once and then kind of pieces things together. So a little bit different, I think. But
yeah. Now I was reading, on the promo assets that a lot of these songs were inspired by, I guess, horror writers. Has it been kind of the concept of the album to take it that way, to where you can add your own story to it, or is just purely inspirational? And if it is that way, does everybody have input to where, well, I like this writer, let's use this book as a concept for one of these songs?
I mean, for us, the dumb musicians in the band, we write the music and then we just leave it up to Steve Harris, and he's the one the creative mastermind behind all the storytelling and all that stuff. And we just leave it to him, honestly. I know we all like horror. We all like horror movies and horror novels and stuff. But he's the one that really delves deep into it and comes up with the catchy, choruses and themes for each song. I think he does an awesome job. So I literally sometimes will just write riffs around what I hope he's gonna do in songs. So, but yeah, we just kind of sit there and go with the flow. We just let him do whatever he wants.
I was reading the lyrics, and the construction of the lyrics are not the usual standard, you know, like one line for most lyrics will be like about 4 or 5 words. I mean, some of these are full. It seems like it's full on sentences on some of these lyrics, which is very different from what other bands are doing.
I think it's probably just part of the fact that he's using a lot of, and this is kind of speculation, part of the fact that he's using a lot of like literary works for inspiration. Maybe he's kind of like trying to write it more like a story.
Yeah,
I know,
it's
certain singers kind of like that, but
yeah. So now that the whole album is finally released, uh, does it fit the idea of what you had when you were writing it and recording it?
um, yeah, honestly, I was actually we've seen quite a few reviews now, and I mean most of them are like overwhelmingly good. Um, and I've heard a lot of people mention that there's not a lot of variation between. I mean, not a lot of people, but I've heard a few reviews where they're saying that they don't think there's a lot of variation between the songs, which was surprising to me because as the person writing the songs, I thought that the songs have a lot of variation. Like I thought that, I mean, maybe there's 10 tracks, so of course there's going to be some that sound similar, and we want to have our own sound. We want some songs to sound similar, so you can be like, that's the day of the beast. But
Right.
I was almost thinking, and we talked about this together, like we were thinking that people would say that the songs were too different, and like complain about that, but kind of gotten the opposite. But
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. I think it's a perfect combination of everything that we've done in the past, and we kind of tried to pick the best things out, and getting a good production on this album was really important too. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely happy with it.
Yeah. But there's something to be said though too about how you don't want to be like completely different. You want to stay true to your sound, but
Exactly. Yeah.
but where people come and say, well, they're not varying it up or they're not doing something, it's nothing different. But it's like, okay, well, why don't you look at, other bands? I mean, look at AC/DC. They've been doing the same thing forever.
Yeah.
What are you going to tell them? It's like, well, you're not doing something different. It's like, well, fuck you. It's like, we enjoy what we're doing and this is the music we play.
And yeah, I mean, we mostly write songs because we like them. I mean, when I'm
Yeah.
writing riffs, I'm really not thinking about, okay, this group of people. I hope I'm gonna write this riff with the hopes that this group of people are gonna like it. It's more like
Right.
I have to feel it, And I think
Right.
I could say the same. I'm kind of speaking for the whole band when I say that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're the guys that are going to be the ones that are going to be playing these songs. So
yeah,
you
yeah, exactly,
have to be happy with that and be okay with, yeah, this is a song that I wrote and I love and it's my little baby and I'm going to keep playing it.
exactly. And that's like treat each song like a little baby.
Yeah. Yeah. I know sometimes it's like, some questions would be, it's like, which one's your favorite song? But it's like, it's trying to pick like, which one's your favorite child?
Yeah, and it's weird because when I write songs, I obsess over them for a very long time before I just kind of let them be. Like I'll sit there and listen to them over and over again. I'm like, okay, what could I make better, or what could I change, and to the point where I end up not even wanting to hear them for a long time.
Yeah.
I think, but yeah, I mean, I think the album has variation, but music's subjective, and people you know hear what they want, and so. And
Right.
I feel like as a reviewer, they're like almost part of their job is picking out things that they think are not the strong points and pointing them out. So,
Yeah. Well, clickbait.
oh yeah, yeah,
Kind of
exactly.
stuff. Yeah. So, you happen to release "Enter the Witch House" as a single. Now, did you have any choice in that, or how important do you feel that is to release a single that kind of is going to encompass like what the Day of the Beast is?
Um, can you ask me that question one more time? I had a message pop up on my screen and like distracted me.
No, I was asking. You had the "Enter the Witch House" as a single come out, and
Right.
So when you get on a label, on a big label, you're like, okay, what song are we going to end up putting out first, or that's going to represent, the band? Did you have any input on which single was released, and or did you have a different idea? Maybe, I think we should have done a different song, or you?
Um, well, for that song in particular, we have been wanting to. To me, that song is like single material because it's got like the the straightforward chorus that is really memorable. Um, but that was actually the first track that we released was "Disturbing Roars at Twilight," which was just a. I mean, there was no music video. It was just a like a visualizer that we put on YouTube. Um, we kind of asked outside opinions, people that we had showed the album to, specifically Prosthetic. We were like, hey, what do you guys think? Because we're having a hard time deciding, which ones that we think should be the single or whatever, and just kind of listened to some other opinions and decided from there.
Yeah,
Because I feel like when you listen to your own music long enough, you start obsessing over it, not necessarily able to think about it. I mean, it's hard to think about it from as an outside person. At least for me, it is.
yeah,
But Enter the Witch House, we've been wanting to do a video for that for a long time, and Steve Harris actually had a whole like storyboard in mind, and all that stuff that goes on in that movie is kind of out of his brain.
yeah.
Um, and Chris, the director, Chris, he did an awesome job of like bringing it to life and editing it and making it look awesome. But that song, I think, is just it's like pure single material, I think. But
So are you going to be planning on releasing another single in a few weeks?
um, well, I guess for the whole single release cycle, probably not. But I mean, we were gonna try to do some. I mean, I was gonna record some guitar playthroughs of different songs. And I know we were talking about filming another music video for. We wanted to film one for the song "Annihilation Prayer," which is like track 5, I think. And we were actually going to have the same guy come out and film, but we were just going to film it in our practice space, just us playing through it, in our practice space. We thought that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be quite as extravagant and demanding. So we may do that at some point in a few months. But as far as like, pure single release, I think we're kind of done. Now we just have to keep everyone's attention. So we'll have to keep releasing guitar playthroughs and stuff like that. Keep
Right.
everyone's attention because how the world's attention span nowadays is pretty short.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, just to get to know you a little bit, some of your musical background. What are some of your influences that kind of led you to the music style that you're playing now?
Um, I mean, lots of death metal in the early 2000s. I mean, when I first started playing guitar, Metallica was like my favorite thing in the world. Um, so if you want to go deep like that, Metallica, Pantera, those were like the bands that I was like really into when I first started playing guitar, and even some like cheesier like new metal stuff at the time because I was young, like Korn and stuff like that. Um, but I think there was a point in time when I had a buddy show me Cradle of Filth, and that was kind of like what really I think the first song I heard that really kind of got me into that was Cthulhu Dawn by Cradle of Filth. And I remember I was in high school and my friend showed me, it's like, listen to this, man. And I listened to that and I was like sold. And that was kind of like what really got me into it,
Yeah.
like extreme metal and stuff like that. Um, I do remember when I was like 12 years old listening to Morbid Angel in a record store, and it was just too much for me at the time. It's like I wasn't ready for that yet or something.
Yeah.
But now, Morbid Angel is one of my biggest influences now. Um, but yeah, I think it was kind of a culmination of like thrash, Metallica, like early Metallica stuff like that, and then later on, I mean, the first time I heard Necrophagist, Stab Wound, that's when I was like a huge. I mean, I was like a huge tech deck nerd, tech deck, tech death nerd after that,
Yeah.
and Yeah, like my first band was a band called Saega, and it's like technical death metal type stuff. We were huge into Cryptopsy. Actually, I listen to that album now, and to me, it almost sounds like an extension of a Cryptopsy type album.
Oh yeah.
None So Vile by Cryptopsy is like one of my favorite albums. Epitaph by Necrophagus was huge. Yeah, so a lot of tech death stuff, and then that's kind of how I got to know the Day of the Beast guys early on because we played shows with them like all the time. And then when their guitarist left, Justin, who I had known for a long time already, it came over to my house and was like, "Do you want to join?" And I said, "Yeah," because my other band wasn't really doing much at the time. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it all worked out for you then.
It did, yeah.
Yeah,
I've been jamming ever since.
very cool. So, I think you're in? Am I correct? Virginia?
Virginia, yep.
Yeah. Have any shows started popping up over there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cover bands and stuff like that playing all over the place. They've had a couple metal shows at a couple of the venues around here. Nothing too big yet, but we're actually trying to get some things going soon. But we found it difficult. I know, Steve Harris, our singer, he lives in Maryland, so he's trying to book some things in the DC area, Baltimore area, because we play up there a lot. And he says it's really difficult right now because everything's booked up because I guess everyone's booking shows now. So
Everybody's
I think sooner
coming.
or later, it's like now we can't even find shows because there's too many people playing shows. But
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think sooner or later everything will even out and be back to normal.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's coming out, and then plus you got quite a few venues that unfortunately end up closing. So now there's less places for bands to play.
Yeah.
But as a music fan, I mean, that's great for us because that means there's going to be a show at least once a week to be going to.
And everybody's, I mean, the first one that I saw pop up on like Facebook events was Deicide in Baltimore.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that was like a few months ago or whatever. And I just immediately was like, I'm going to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Deicide's not like my favorite band. I mean, I do like a lot of Deicide, but I just didn't care who it was. I was like, I'm going.
Yeah. I think it's them, Cataclysm, Internal Bleeding, and somebody else.
Yep. That show.
Same yeah. Thing. That's going to be a good show. So, you kind of briefly talked on maybe trying to look for shows for yourself. If you can't find anything, maybe possibly push the plans of touring till spring of next year.
We'll definitely be trying to do some kind of touring next year. Right now, it's kind of like we're trying to book sporadic, random shows just to support the album because because we haven't played in like since I think the last show we played was in January of last year, so it was like right before everything went to shit.
Right.
But yeah, it's right now it's tough for some reason. But yeah, next year we're definitely be playing a ton of shows, and hopefully within the next few months we'll be able to book some shows for this year. That's what I'm hoping. But
yeah, heck yeah.
I think
being a prosthetic records also is going to kind of help you get on to some like a group tour.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing I guess insanely long, extensive touring is hard for us just because we all have jobs that won't necessarily let us just like leave for months at a time. So, but yeah. I mean, we're looking between 2 and 3 week range. We could probably swing that. So that's kind of how we're looking to do it. So hopefully we can land on some cool stuff like that, and maybe some festivals or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that'd be cool. One thing I'm planning to do is a festival.
Hang on 1 second. What are you talking about anyway?
Know about getting festivals, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, it'd be really sweet to play Maryland Death Fest, but that's probably that's been booked for like 2 years now. So
I
Hey
know.
man, what was that?
Yeah. I said all these festivals that have been booked, they're like they just keep postponing.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Very
they're
cool.
all stacked. That's all right. So, for fans, of course, order either hopefully getting the physical album or CD or merch from the site. What else could fans do to help support the band right now?
Honestly, just follow us on social media and interact with us. And I mean, we're always willing to like chat, and maybe we'll do some like live. I think maybe at practice we're just gonna start streaming and just talking to people just for fun, you know. But yeah, I mean, just follow us on social media, watch our stuff that we post, and interact with us and come to shows. I mean, I know it's like nowadays. Luckily, vinyl has kind of made like a resurgence, but I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't care that much about CDs anymore. So,
Yeah,
uh, you know, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
yeah. No,
Always good to
I
see
hear
people at
you.
shows.
Yeah. Now, if somebody orders a vinyl, would they be possibly be able to get, that sign from the entire band? Maybe some kind of bundle that way?
Um, I think we'll probably get some of our own to sell. Right now, they're coming directly from Prosthetic. I'm sure we could work something out if if someone really wanted it. I know for my other band, when they sent me like a box of that we could kind of do our own thing with, and we were able to do that for a few people. We signed it and sent it out, but I'm sure that will happen. Actually, I haven't gotten any of the vinyls in yet myself, but I'm assuming we will at some point get our own. And yeah, I mean, we would totally do that. And even if it was coming from Prosthetic, I'm sure we could probably work something out if someone really wanted it.
Yeah. I don't know because there are some fans that like it means a little bit more to get the album signed from the whole band members and stuff
Oh yeah, definitely.
when they're yeah, very cool. So Steve, we're almost at the end of our interview. Is there anything else that you would like to promote that we haven't talked about? You got the album just came out this past Friday. Of course, buy it if you're able to, stream it, whatever, share it on social media for because sharing doesn't cost anything. It just gets out into those algorithms. But anything else that you would like to promote before we finish up?
I mean, not really. All those things you just said, and then look for us out on the road and come hang out with us. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, just so you know, in Texas, we're all opened up completely.
I definitely want to play Texas. I've actually never played Texas before, so hopefully we'll
Yeah,
make it out there like next year sometime.
very cool. Well, if you do, I'll keep a lookout. Then maybe we can meet up, have a drink or something.
That sounds good, man. That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, you take care. I appreciate your time,
Yeah, man, it
and
was
have.
awesome talking to you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Steve.
Hey, have a good one.
You
Thanks.
too. Bye.
Bye.